song in my head this morning is H-O-T-T-O-G-O. You can take me home. Day 3 of this hospitalization. Yesterday, gastroenterologist came in and said we're going to be doing a colonoscopy. And then a nurse came in with a gallon of prep and said, all right, drink as much of this as you can in the next 8 hours, and we'll go from there. And my whole body said, oh, heck no. So earlier this year, I had a colonoscopy, I had a gastric emptying test, and I had a CT scan because I was having a bad flare earlier this year. And in response to having all of those tests so close to each other, oh my goodness, what do I do? Okay, hang on. Anyway, due to the toxin overload from all of these tests, I ended up being bedridden for 3 months. Not even an exaggeration. That was hard to say. So, being even weaker this time around, I knew that I couldn't handle the prep and the colonoscopy, so I rejected the prep and said, I think I just need to simply rest. The colonoscopy I feel is unnecessary and I don't think I can handle it right now. Doc said, okay. This morning he said, I still want to do it without the prep. Fine. So yesterday was full of some really fun adventures. They just kept trying to give me medications of all kinds, stop it, that I didn't need. So they would come in with a new medicine and I would say, oh, what's that? And they would say, oh, well, it's anti-nausea and Benadryl, just in case you're allergic to the anti-nausea. And I said, I'm not nauseous. I'm okay. I don't need it. So then they would come in later with other medication. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's antibiotics. Oh, well, I have Crohn's disease, and antibiotics every single time worsens my Crohn's without fail. I would like to talk to the GI doctor first. This continued all day long until finally I ended up asking one of the nurses, so what medicines have I gotten today? And she said, well, you've gotten your IV steroids, which I approved of those. And then she said, and you've also gotten an antibiotic and a proton pump inhibitor. And I said, I was not made aware of these two. So I was given medications without my informed consent. What the heck, bro? What the heck? They did it outside my room. What the heck? So last night I started experiencing what felt like the onset of tetany, which I experienced in a previous hospitalization a handful of years ago. In this previous hospitalization, I experienced full-blown tetany due to being given too much sodium bicarb to stop my acidosis. This tetany, it started out with this tingling in my chest and stomach, and then it spread to my hands and feet, and then my limbs, and then my face, and then my entire body, and I kept updating the nurses as it was happening. They just completely dismissed it and saying, you're having anxiety. And so the last time I called the nurses in this previous hospitalization, I told them it's getting worse, and literally right in front of the nurse's eyes, my arms curled in, my fingers curled in, and my jaw locked up, and my eyes were tight, and I couldn't open them. And I said, through clenched teeth, I said, anxiety does not cause this. You need to find out what is going on now. And with tight lips and crossed arms, she said, okay. And she walked out. For an hour, I laid there in terrible pain, not knowing what the heck was going on with me, not knowing if I was going to be able to regain the usage of my hands and voice and sight and everything. And I remember thinking, what if my airway gives out? And so I just tried to quiet all of the fearful thoughts that were running through my head. And finally, the doctor came in and he said, "You were given too much sodium bicarb. You're experiencing tetany. We're going to wheel you down to the ICU and pump you full of electrolytes." So they did. Within a half an hour, all of my muscles relaxed and I was able to go back to my room the next morning. But I wasn't able to get out of bed. I wasn't able to drink water or use the restroom for 8 hours because they said, "We need to know that you have full usage of your muscles again." That sucked. The whole thing sucked. Holy cow. So last night I started experiencing the onset of the same thing. The feeling started in my stomach and chest, and then it spread to my hands and my feet, and then to my limbs, and then to my face. And I was updating the nurses, "This is happening." And for whatever reason, I got the same response. The nurse came in, arms crossed, tight lips. "Okay." And walked out. Little did they know that I just happened to have a bottle of the homeopathic remedy camphora in my purse. I feel like I'm like such a genius of a lady, which I just happened to pack in my purse before heading to the hospital. Camphora will stop the action of anything that is not working properly in your favor. So I took it, and within an hour, all of the symptoms that were spreading and worsening started subsiding. So I knew I was going to be okay, and I almost wished I didn't take it just so that I could let the tetany go to its full effect, so that I could show them, "This is why you don't give me things without informed consent." But it wouldn't teach them a lesson, and it would just put me in an uncomfortable situation, to say the least. So today on my agenda is getting into my patient portal and getting a patient advocate. And thank God last night my sister and brother-in-law came here to be with me during the time I was experiencing, stop it, the tetany, and to just be my advocate. And that was so sweet of them, and that really helped me. Oh my gosh. And then as the nurse was talking to me and I was telling her about my onset of tetany that I was experiencing, a phlebotomist came in to take my blood. So she was witnessing this interaction between me and the nurse. And after the nurse left, the phlebotomist looked at me and she was like, "Her laugh, it is so fake." And she was like, "I am so sorry. She just treated you that way. That was so rude and dismissive." And I just laughed, and I was like, thank God for people who see and care and acknowledge and care. So yeah, I'll be getting my colonoscopy later today. We'll see what the results show, and we'll go from there. And most likely it's not going to show anything other than inflammation, which is what it's always shown. So number 3, I'm thinking of going to Shoney's and then going on a hike. That sounds really nice right now. So we're gonna see.